And welcome back. We are here just a couple of days before Halloween. Catherine, it's good to see you. Thanks for putting this
Yeah, it's good
together
to
as
see you.
usual. Yeah, I'm really glad. We had about a month off since our last live stream. And today I think I'm really excited because we have one of our partners, someone who's really taken full advantage of the Singular render engine and has made a really an incredible offering. And then we're going to talk to Maria from StormGeo later in the show, which is a real treat for us to have her all the way from Sweden. And but before we dive into that, we're going to look at a little bit of what's new. So, Catherine, I'll let you dive into that and tell us what's new, and then we'll Maria will join us, and Travis, as always, is back behind the scenes, making sure that we
As always,
make. There
Can
he
we
is,
see you,
back.
Travis? Or
We
you
can
so
see
choose
Travis.
to.
We can see.
there
There
he
he
is.
is. There he is. There he is.
Nice.
Travis, thanks again for putting together a great show. And our also and Catherine for putting this one together and getting Maria involved in this one. I'm looking forward to it because I unfortunately I missed our rehearsal, which actually I'm kind of glad I did because I took a look at the StormGeo software, and but now we're going to get a first-hand demo from Sweden from Maria, so I'm looking forward to that. But Catherine, before we do that, let's do a little bit of what's new, and then we'll have Maria join us.
Sure. So we've got some really cool new user showcases, as we always do. If you get our newsletter, you would have seen that. We have um, Singular for Good, a Singular for Good member, did a really, I think, very professional, stellar live stream fundraising event. And they had this really cool graphic on the bottom that shows kind of the status of how much money they've raised throughout it. So that was really cool to see our community do something like that. And then Logitech actually had a live reveal of one of their new gaming headsets. I think it's like a G, can't remember the numbers, but it's a really cool looking gaming headset. And they had a really fun live stream event with lots of industry players in the gaming community. So those are some cool new user showcases. You can check that out at Singular.live/news. There's the link down there. And that's it from me.
Cool. Well, I guess without further ado, we're going to introduce Maria Augutis from Sweden. There she is. Maria, thank you so much for joining us. Maria is a meteorologist with SVT in Sweden, and she is also working with StormGeo, which is one of our partners in Singular. I'd say partners in the sense that they take full advantage of the Singular render engine, and they have created quite an amazing UI for doing weather for forecasts. So, Maria, welcome to our little
Thank
stream.
you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks again for joining us. And we're looking forward to getting a demonstration of Storm Geo and what it can do. And I have a number of clients and customers that we're working with at Singular that are very interested in seeing what you guys have developed. So the floor is yours. I think Travis is going to probably share screen and we'll dive right into the UI and take a look at it.
Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, so we're going to take a look at our newest product today. It's called StormGeo Studio, and you've all seen weather being presented on TV, right? From your local news stations to your national network. And the graphics that's often used is, it requires heavy duty and often expensive software that also limits you to a designated computer often. And
Mm.
the media landscape is changing. We all know that. And something that I've noticed, a lot of my colleagues have noticed, especially during this past pandemic year, is that we need to be able to live stream at any moment, anywhere. We need to be able to go live from our phones, from our computers. And that has been a challenging part since the old graphics really need or makes you be in the studio. You need to be at work to be able to create good graphics. And this is where StormGeo Studio enters the stage. So we have, with the help of you guys at Singular, been able to develop a completely cloud-based graphic system. So now you can, create very localized forecasts. You can share tweets. You can track large-scale weather systems just from a URL from your laptop at home or from your iPad or from really anywhere. And that has opened great new doors to a new way of communicating weather. So we're going to take a look at StormGeo Studio today. Travis is going to help me out a bit and I think share his screen now. We can see if we can get it up. So we're going to go through it a bit and then also explore how you pretty easily can incorporate this into your workflow. I'll take some questions in the end. I think that will be the easiest way of doing it probably. But this is where it all starts. This is the landing page. You have your playlist to the right. You have your preview and output box. And this is where you create your graphics, you create your playlist before you're ready to go on air. And the first thing you do that Travis has already done is that he has fetched data. And you got to do this because you want to make sure that you have the latest and best weather data out there. And we use what's considered one of the best weather models in the world. It's the European Center for Weather Forecasting, the ECMWF, and it's a global weather model which allows you to use this anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are. So you fetch the data and then you're ready to go. And Travis, if you go down to the little plus sign at the bottom left, this is where you can add your different graphic templates. And we won't go through each and every one of them, but I'll show you a few of them. We'll start with the L bar city, if you see that, yeah, right there. And this is a very, basic, good L-shaped graphics that you can incorporate into your broadcast. And we need to be able to show a location. We need to be able to choose a location. And in order to do that, you go up to your location database, which is all the way up top there. You click on that, and now you can choose a location of your liking. I've added a few, but we can always add another one. How about, you choose, Travis. You pick one.
It's going to be Cancun, right?
We already looked at
It's got to be Cancun, because I heard you going on the vacation.
We already picked Cancun, right? Yeah.
All right, what is
the weather in Las Vegas?
Las Vegas.
That's
nice
a fun place.
Hot. Actually,
everyone knows of Las
Vegas. Is it
Vegas.
still hot and dry?
So
I'm sure they'll have very exciting weather.
Las Vegas. Yeah, and so now it's on the list. So that
is.
means that we can use Las Vegas in our graphics. You close out of that box, and now you go to your overlay editor a bit further to the right, and you can type in Las Vegas to get the latest weather data for that specific location. There it is, and
nice.
Here we go. Here's your latest forecast for Las Vegas. This, because it is such good weather data, you often don't have to edit anything. But if you're, say, a meteorologist and want to do some teeny little tweaks, you can do that down below. So you can edit everything. And the good thing here is that if you make an edit in one of the graphics, then that will override into the other ones as well. So you just need to make an edit once. So say...
we were talking about this before, right? How as a meteorologist, you are studying maps for hours and hours, right? And you want to be able to maybe do slight modifications because you think that there's going to be your best judgment might actually even be better than the best data. So that's cool.
Exactly. That's a good point. And that's, we've created this product for meteorologists, but also for journalists and producers and people who are actually not as much of a weather nerd as I am. So, it works for the person who doesn't want to go in and make a lot of edits, but it also allows a trained meteorologist to really make detailed forecasts. So you have both options. So we're happy with our Vegas forecast. You feel good about it, Travis?
I think so. It's going to be mostly sunny today.
It's going to be mostly sunny. So it's in the preview now. So we want to be able to bring it on air. And to be able to do that, you press the take in button in the playlist. And bam, now it's on air. And this one is good, to have, say, Travis, you can stand in the middle there and talk about the weather. You can talk about your gambling strategies or whatever you do. So that, that opens up the door to actually have other broadcasts in the middle. So that's one type of graphic. Then we have several different other ones. We can go to the top one and see what that looks like. Up in the list, that's one that actually fills in the middle. You can change the size of the graphics as well if you wanted to go full screen or incorporate it into the L-shaped one. We can continue down a bit and see what else we have. So this one, for example, I did a Georgia themed one. Here you can add, say we want to add the classic city. We want to add Athens, Georgia. And I've actually saved that one down already, so it's already in the library. So you can go to, oh, it's already in there. I already added it. How about we add another city?
What's another one? I don't know.
Let's see, what else do we have in Georgia? Savannah's there, Macon is there. We can add Birmingham, Alabama. I think that one's on a different one.
Okay.
There we go. So then the graphics will adjust based on how many locations you want to add.
Nice.
So you feel good about that one. You can also bring that one in on air. And this, can be done during a live stream, and it can also be planned ahead of time, so you're ready to just go on air when you get started. We can go one further down. Here's just another option. And this is, I told you before, you can go in and change the icons, the temperatures, whether it's sunny or not. You can also change the starting time. Say you want to prepare this for later in the day. You can say it's not going to be the forecast for 8 a.m. It's going to be, say, at 6 p.m. Change that in the starting time. You can also get the latest observations. What's the weather like right now? Now we're using Fahrenheit, as you see. You can, of course, use Celsius as well. So we'll use for both, or it will work for both systems. And another thing we felt was very important is that there's so much more to talk about than just the weather, right? So we wanted to incorporate the option of creating good banners. And that's right there, you have the banner. Breaking news. What happened? You scored big in Vegas, maybe. You can choose whatever here.
I won.
I won. Excellent. You can create a second row if you want to. You can do a lot of things here. And this one actually incorporates very nicely with the L-shaped one they already have in the output layer. So if you bring the banner in on air to the output layer, it will look very nicely with the L-shaped one as well. So many of the graphics are built to be able to look very nice together. And this is our default standard color palette, font, and so on. But this can, of course, all be altered to the liking of the company or the person who's actually using it. So you can really design it the way you want it. Another exciting thing is that you can add tweets. And this is something I use in my work as a broadcaster all the time. I bring in exciting weather photos. If there's been flooding somewhere, or we've gotten videos of a rainbow, we can incorporate that. And you see in the overlay editor, Travis, that there's just a tweet URL. So you can just go and choose a tweet of your liking. And this was a neat one we tweeted about the other week. You press enter, and there you go. So that's a good way of just getting very specific weather content out quickly. And something
it's nice. I was just gonna say, it contextualizes everything, right? Like being able to have photos from the ground of people actually experiencing the weather if you're in studio that day.
Exactly.
It's nice.
And that's such a good point too. We can talk about the weather and look at the weather maps, but you want to see what it actually looks like. And also you want maybe the presenter to be outside, and you can stay outside in the storm, but still have, your graphics around you in a very easy way. So we're trying to really bring the weather into the graphics and not just your icons for sun and cloud, right? And a very exciting part of StormGeo Studio that we're working very hard on now is to develop the maps. So we want the visuals, we want the flowing fields, and that's the next graphics we have here. So this, for example, is the situation over Europe, the Atlantic right now. I just added a wind field. We can see that there's a spinning low pressure over Iceland. They're getting a lot of weather there right now. And here you can also add many different layers to create your own weather story here. So Travis, if you go to the map layer, you can add a new layer. And here you have several different options. You can see in the drop down bar under type there, if you go a bit to the right, there you have several different options. But in this specific graphics, I want to show the wind. So you click on 10 meter wind a bit down. There you go. And you can choose whether or not you want the color or the wind bars. So here we have a very nice way of showing the low pressures that are moving in. And here you can also show, do you want to show the forecast for today or tomorrow or 3 days ahead of time? And you can all change that in the start and end time. And also the colors you can adjust to your liking. And we have, here we have precipitation and radar and satellites. So there's a lot of fun things you can do here. As a meteorologist, this is definitely my favorite part. And with here you see precipitation. And the good thing too with the weather data we're using, since it is global and a very high resolution model, you can go in pretty close. You can go and get very good local weather reports. So that's an overview of the graphics we're playing with, and there are a few others, but this is kind of the basic of it. So it gives the user a lot of freedom to just create whatever you want very quickly, and you can also save playlists. You find a concept that you like, then you can just export that and then bring it back in again. Our main goal with this is that it should be easy to understand, easy to use, quick, and still very good and scientifically very good as well. And that's something we've put a lot of effort into getting this huge amount of data coming in, but still being able to get it very smooth.
Well, it looks great. We think it's really cool.
The functionality is amazing. It's really neat to see, and it's got the things you need as a broadcaster. Obviously you can preview the graphics to make sure that the data is there. I think the fact that you guys have the ability to override any of the data settings in the first example, the L bar, which is very common where you want to make slight adjustments to the data that's coming in, but extremely responsive when you consider what's going on here from a tech standpoint, being able to bring in this much data. As you can see Travis moving around the lat and longitude, the map is moving around. You're still getting the precipitation data. So one question I had is, so you're actively using the product at SVT when you're doing your weather reports. And how have you found that in terms of like a broadcast tool? Because as you said, many of the tools out there, the existing tools, are quite heavy. It's a big footprint. It's a big hardware footprint. It's a cost standpoint is considerable. And you mentioned too the flexibility to be able to do this from remote locations. And I assume that was something that hit the world with COVID and having to be off site. So just interested in your take on how this was used, not only at SVT a little bit there, but also how you're able to use it from remote locations, maybe from your home or wherever.
Yeah. So one important thing, we're actually not using this at SVT right now. So I'm using it with our other clients at StormGeo. And it just opens up so many more doors, because otherwise, I've been standing talking about the weather, and maybe we've been able to incorporate a PDF file of a map. But this just allows me to create a way more fun way of interacting with the viewer, and creating a sleeker looking and nicer looking product. And we actually built a studio just here across the next room over, just with a bit of a green screen and some cameras, and we were playing around with it this afternoon, and I can share some of the results later. It's so easy to make it look very professional, and that's the thing. You don't need to be a big TV network to be able to use this. You can do it in your living room. So really, it really allows everyone to be a good weather forecaster, which is exciting.
Do you have any customers that operate remotely? I know it's maybe a little bit different with weather than other types of content.
Yes, we have several very interested potential clients who are really testing it now. So we're hoping, within the next month, have some very good people actually using it every day, which is great.
That's awesome.
Now, I have to say, I did notice we forgot to mention, it's Maria you studied meteorology in Atlanta in Georgia, right?
Yeah, I was in Athens at the University of Georgia.
Yep. So we have to just take a shout out to the Bulldogs, because we were talking about that earlier before we started. These 7-0 Bulldogs, and I see a smile on Maria's face about that. So
go Dogs, right?
Let's take care of Florida. I hope none of our viewers are from Florida, but George is coming to town.
There's probably some.
I think we'll do pretty well. I have a good feeling.
Well, I have to say the responsiveness of the data when Travis was going to the location database, it's a very nice search engine to go get the locations, to organize them, and then be able to assign those locations to the various templates that you have in the software. But it's incredibly responsive when you consider the amount of data.
And that's the thing. That's, I think, really the key, because it's hard to understand how much data we're really talking. But this weather model we're using has a forecasting point every 9th kilometer around the world. So all of that data has to get in and be translated into all of these icons and data. So to me, when I first saw it, I was blown away, because I know how much computer power that's actually needed to be able to do this. So it's not strange that up until now you've needed a designated computer, a very heavy duty software. And I see this as the future of weather broadcasting, and many of my colleagues do too. And that's something we hear from people in the industry. This is the solution they're looking for going forward. So it's exciting to be part of it.
The source of the data, as you mentioned, is European-based ECWM. What are some of your now, being European-focused, do you have the same data sets across the globe? Like if we're for our North American customers, where are you on the North American side in terms of ECWM data?
So since it is global data, it's just as good over the US as it is in Europe, as it is in Asia, over Australia and New Zealand. But with this product too, you can bring in the GFS model if you want to. You can bring in, for example, in Sweden, we have a very high resolution model just over Scandinavia. You can bring that in. So it all depends on the customer, what they want, but a default data service from the EC model is a very good option everywhere, really.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. Tremendous amount of, like you said, tremendous amount of data, but really pretty straightforward in terms of how to get where you need to go. It's not an overwhelming, when it all boils down to the GUI, it's not overwhelming. I mean, select your location, select your template, assign location to the template, make those manual overrides as needed. You have an easy to understand playlist, preview, program. And like you said, because you're you're taking advantage of that Singular render engine. You're all web-based and you're not tied to a location. You can do this anywhere what that makes sense for a broadcast. This is just absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
Really beautiful UI. Very um, I mean, I'm not confused and I'm not a weather guy at all, but
Yeah, it's
Good, that's the goal.
really
yeah,
cool.
it's very second nature. It's very easy to pick up. It's
We want to confuse as little as possible.
That's
You'll
good.
notice too that the architecture is built within the Singular ecosphere, meaning that the top bar you see the select output. So that might look similar to some users that are using Singular Studio or our other apps, any of our Uno apps. And the beauty of doing it that way is it's scalable. It's scalable within the Singular um, platform, which is just amazing. So you can instance
Where's the output?
your applications and your, as you can see, Travis is bringing up the output. There you go. And once it's loaded into the render engine, you can see it's just a beautiful output, absolutely gorgeous. And as Maria alluded to earlier, I'm sure, for customers that need to make a custom design, upstream of these graphics is the full Singular composer where, edits can be made for various the design of the graphics. But in terms of the basics, these basics, when you boil it all down, it looks basic. You've got an L bar, you've got full screens. You can insert a full screen into the L bar, swap out the bottom bar. But a tremendous amount of details under the hood, boiled down to a really easy to understand UI. Absolutely tremendous.
And you can change language, of course, as well,
Ah,
um,
nice.
which is
Where's the
That's good
language
because
oh,
configuration?
where would that be?
so then we will go in and change that when people
Okay,
sign up. So
custom.
we've created a version in Swedish. We've had some other languages as well. So that's all changeable too.
That's cool. And necessary.
And necessary,
And
very necessary.
and you've got, I believe when I was playing around with the software, you have obviously the ability to switch units, whether it's metric.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously needed in North America, and
Mm-hmm.
just absolutely beautiful, really well done. It's really neat. It's neat for us to see applications this sophisticated built within the Singular app infrastructure specifically, and just really cool to see that.
It's
So,
fun. It's been a
Maria,
very
you guys
fun
sent over.
collaboration. I'm very grateful. Sorry.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, you guys sent over a link for free access, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we've got that in our video description. So hit
Yes.
that.
So
And then I
anyone
think
can
there's a
fill
little
that
bit of a
out.
fill out form, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then, me or any of my colleagues will get in touch with you guys. And if you want to schedule a demo with me when we go through the product more in detail and just kind of look at your specific needs, fill out the link and I'll get in touch with you.
It's perfect.
Cool.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for the overview, and now we'll take some questions. I don't know, Travis, you're our gatekeeper for all things questions and answers. Well, maybe not the answer side, but the question side.
Just the
Um,
question.
just the questions
Yeah,
only.
just the question
Um,
side. I have no answers for you guys. Yeah, people are just enjoying it. No questions at the moment. Just
Well, it's
a
pretty
lot
straightforward,
a lot
right?
of thumbs
it seems
up.
like.
Yeah, it's super easy
Good.
to grasp. Yeah, it's
And if you have any questions, I'm just an email away.
Yeah, we
Perfect.
also put that link in the description to contact for StormGeo. So do that if you want
Well, I
to.
would say definitely from a custom app application standpoint, clearly one of our more advanced apps that's a group has developed using the Singular render engine by far. And we wish you guys huge success with the product. I know I have a number of customers that are interested in demos. So the contact information is in the description of the video below, and you can reach out to Maria and learn more about the product. So absolutely, really cool. Catherine, anything else from you?
No, that's it. I put our little graphic on. Thanks for watching. So
There you go.
I guess we're good.
Travis, thanks
Perfect.
again
Thank
for
you so
doing
much, guys.
the tech side. Maria, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll as your product evolves, we can have you back again for an update on new features that you might have or use cases. It'd be neat to get some of the customers that are using it. We can even talk with them and show them how we've seen the
Absolutely.
product in action. I'm sure there's some demo videos where people can see where the graphics are composited in a real environment. So thanks again for joining us. Catherine, as always, thank you. Travis, behind the scenes. Go
Always.
Bulldogs Saturday in Florida.
Go dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go dogs.
Bye.
Thanks again,
All
guys.
right.
Appreciate it.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.